Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, your sanctuary with retreat experts, where we spill the tea on retreat success. Here we dive into crafting transformational guest experiences, talk about how to avoid pitfalls, and unlock marketing secrets. Whether you're a seasoned guru or a budding enthusiast, we've got the inside scoop for you. Join us as we learn how to flourish in this magical world of retreats.
Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. I'm Shannon, and today my guest is someone I call a friend, and she's my neighbor, and we are in similar fields, and I'm so excited to have Kristine on the show. Welcome to the show, Kristine.
Thank you, Shannon. So excited to be here with you.
Yes. Okay. Before we get started on like this very cool thing that we are doing together and how retreat leaders can benefit from that, will you just first tell everybody who you are, like what you do and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah. Well, I'm a lot of things. I am a serial entrepreneur. I just really love to
Me too.
We're very similar. I find problems and then I learn how to solve them or invent some way to solve them. And then I think I should have a business about this because other people must have this problem too. So I have a marketing company called Over Coffee Consulting. I run Horse and Bow, which is a leadership development company where we partner with horses and utilize archery in order to just bring out the best in humans, help them be better people through their interactions with horses. And it's really mindfulness based, mindful leadership is what we're going for, focused on, building teams that love each other and trust each other and are really excited to go to work every day. So that's the primary.
I love it. And we met through our love of horses, I believe, is really how her and I met. She's a neighbor on my road, y'all. When I say neighbor, I mean like she's literally on my street. And we both have a love for horses. And we both went to kind of different modalities, but very similar family of how we utilize our horses as partners in helping people to grow or heal or expand or whatever may be the case, where I kind of went towards the equine yoga services as far as mindfulness and then meditative movement kind of practice breath work. And then you kind of went a little bit more towards the leadership, but still very mindfulness based. And so can you just tell us a little bit more about like what your program is?
Yeah. So our program is meant for teams. We can handle groups of a variety of sizes, but my favorite is teams that are like 6 to 10 people, because at that size, you can really have an impact. People can have big transformations throughout the day. And so what we do is really team building activities that could mimic like a low ropes course. So we start with kind of mindfulness moments and getting settled and understanding what it's like to be around the horses. But then we present an interesting challenge that incorporates the horses where you have to, maybe the team needs to move the horses from one place to another, or maybe they need to get them through an obstacle course, or maybe we need to identify what kind of resources we're going to need to reach a certain goal. And then we try to do it, utilizing and partnering with the horses. And so people get the opportunity and teams get the opportunity to see where they maybe have mismatches in communication, maybe where they're not following strategy really well. Maybe they haven't divided roles and responsibilities well. Maybe they're just not caring for the other people on their team, including the horses. One of the big questions I love to ask after an exercise and a challenge that we give someone is, how did the horses show up? Were they part of the team or were they the obstacle? Were they the challenge? And what vision or view did you have of them as you were working with them? And it's just really interesting that different people that will see the horses as their customers or horses as their children, or the horses were actually a teammate and they were working in sync, towards the same goal. So these exercises really reveal a lot about how we approach problems, how we communicate, interpersonal skills, how we communicate with each other. And it's just incredible to see what people can learn from doing it.
I'm fascinated by the work, as you know. I'm fascinated by how we can learn more about ourselves and so many different skills within ourselves with our equine partners. It just blows my mind away. I've seen some of the work that you do. I've seen what we do here as well. And I really feel like we could describe it probably with all kinds of fancy, beautiful words and all this descriptive, but you just don't even know until you do it, right?
Yes.
I mean, you just don't even know until you experience it or witness it, one of the two.
Right. I've had experiences like that where actually just recently I had someone coming out for a private session. She wanted to just do coaching, and she knew that horses had a healing component to them. When people are around horses, they just somehow feel better or feel they can move forward from some difficult things. And as we were talking, getting ready, it was like, I don't know what it is, but this is what she kept saying. I just think this is going to be great. And afterwards, she was like, how do I tell people about this? How do I tell my husband what just happened? And I was like, you can't. They have to experience it. You can tell them, but I also love to tell people you don't have to. You can just say, I'm still processing it. It was a really remarkable experience, and I don't quite know how to put it into words yet. It's just so special to be a part of. So I love when people come out that have never done it before and just get to say, like, this is what I thought, but I just didn't know what to say.
I know. I feel like it's more of a feeling, an experience feeling more than you can ever verbalize.
Hey, retreat leaders. Are your retreats the hidden gems of the travel world just waiting to be discovered? Well, it's time to shine a spotlight on them. Introducing the ultimate guide you've been waiting for, our free guide, Top 11 Tips for Building an Email List for you, the retreat leaders. Imagine an email list packed with eager attendees, hanging on to your every word and ready to book at the click of a button. We share the blueprint to creating a list that sells. Don't miss out on the action. Learn how to connect deeply with your audience, boost your bookings, and create a buzz that fills every retreat. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, these 11 tips are your secret weapon to success. Visit retreatleaderlistbuilding.com now to grab your free copy and start building an email list that sells out your retreats.
Speaking of that, though, I think one of the things that I wanted to talk about, Kristine, was a lot of the folks listening, they're hosting retreats or thinking about hosting retreats. They're in the healing modality field, we'll call it that. So that's very broad. And I feel like they're missing, or it's an opportunity, I guess we could just say, of incorporating horse work, equine work into their current offerings, right? And which would do, I think, two things. One, it would, expand the healing, opportunities for the people that they work with, but also it expands their income opportunities too, because I am one of those people in the healing modality that, listen, we need to make a good living. There needs to be a good energetic exchange between this. It's a mutual beneficial. It's beneficial for the horse. It's beneficial for the person who's receiving the services. It's beneficial for the person who's offering the services. And so you and I put together, along with our friend Paula, this really cool workshop. Will you tell us a little bit about this workshop?
Yeah, so we are so excited. We have a 2-day retreat coming up. It's optional to come to day 1 or day 2, but we are going to show and experience all of the modalities that we utilize in our practices with coaches and therapists, wellness practitioners, yoga teachers, everyone who experiences, provides transformation through wellness related activities and modalities. They'll have the chance to see and experience and be part of equine assisted everything is kind of what I want to call it. So we're going to have Paula Basden, who is currently the horse, I don't know what you would call her, the horse whisperer at Miraval. She's trained in EGALA. She's trained in Equinexus. She's trained in natural lifemanship, which are some great equine therapy kind of models or equine assisted coaching models. And so she's going to show us how she works one-on-one with people in a round pen. And participants are going to get the chance to come and be that person in the round pen, and then also watch, because being a witness, as you said, to some of this, it's just as powerful to see someone else go through something really magical in front of you. And then you're going to do some equine yoga for us and show us how you utilize equine yoga at Retreat Ranch. Do you want to tell people more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, as Kristine's telling you and I'm telling you, this doesn't mean that you actually have to do this. You could just invite people in to do this, or you could learn how to do it. But as far as equine yoga, it's meant to be the one time probably in all of our lives that we will be fully present, almost because you have no choice, but also because you want to, because you're working with a 1,200-pound partner doing meditation, breath work, some gentle movements. You can be seated on the horse or not, and really just honing in on the present moment and being allowed to tune in totally to what you feel, and allowing our equine partners to be a mirror for us. And the fact that we really have to be present with what we're feeling in order to have, this coherence with our horses. And so I just call it like, if you could think of any other type of workout or yoga or meditation or anything, your mind can still wander, right? You could still think of the future. You could still ruminate on the past. Like your mind's thinking about the argument you just had or all the stuff you have to do. When you're doing equine yoga, you will not. You will not. You will be completely present with your partner, witnessing their experience, your partner's experience, your experience, just completely present. I'm getting chills as I talk about it because it really is the only time that you'll be completely present. So we're going to demonstrate this as well as, as you mentioned, witness. Like a lot of people will get to witness it as well.
Yeah. Okay. That's so funny that she said it's the one time you can be totally focused and dialed in like that and present. And the only other time I've had that experience truly, because I do a lot of yoga, a lot of mindfulness work and things like that. But we went show jumping cross country jumping actually in Ireland. I've gone twice in the last 2 years, and going over jumps out in the forest with on a 1,200-pound animal is the only time that I have felt truly present in the moment, like noticing every little thing that was going on. So you can either do cross country jumping, or you can do yoga with a horse. I think a lot of people would prefer to start with yoga to experience that honed in present feeling. Let's start there because it takes a lot more effort and cost to get to Ireland to cross country jump there.
I agree with you there. Although that sounds really exciting, but I can actually see the correlation between the two because you have to be so dialed in with your partner and with what you are feeling, because what you are feeling, your horse is picking up on. And so if all of a sudden you get super, super nervous or afraid or angry or whatever, frustrated, your horse is like, wait, what am I doing? And it's going to throw them off a little bit possibly. Or, just maybe make a misstep or whatever may be the case. You just really have to be tuned in. So I love that correlation. And then you're going to be doing your own demonstrations. What are you going to be doing?
Yeah. So I'm going to show people how we do team building activities, and that's going to involve everybody in the room. We're going to get a group in there. I typically limit it to about 12 people in an arena at a time with 2 or 3 horses. And we're going to experience some of these team building activities. And what I love about it for all these wellness practitioners and coaches is one additional benefit, I guess, is what I'll say. You said it's going to expand our offerings, right? The things that we can do by including horses. It's also providing additional income, of course, because it's just an additional way that you can service that you can provide. But I think there's a really special energetic exchange, like you said, but an energy sharing that happens when you work with horses. So when you as the coach have this incredibly wise teacher in the arena with you, you're sharing the coaching with them. And so I think it minimizes burnout for practitioners too. And so people are going to see how a lot of my role when I am coaching in a team building activity scenario with horses is watching the horses. I'm just watching what is happening so that I can take note of what's the horse's response? How did the horse behave? What did the people do that caused that? And then start inquiring and getting curious. Why did that happen? And so it's very similar to the coaching you would do with 2 people, but you get to share that job with the horses. They can't lie. They can only be a horse. They can only respond like a horse. And so it's very clear and simple what is going on. So we're going to show that. We're going to demonstrate some of that. Everybody will get to be involved, participate in it, and just see what it's like to have a big group. And again, I think this adds a lot to a coach's Rolodex, because it allows them to pull a big group together. So maybe you're coaching an executive right now and you're really doing great work with that person, but it needs to filter down to the rest of the team. So could they then bring the team into your coaching sessions and talk about maximizing your income? When you're coaching one person versus now you're coaching 12 people, even if it's just a one-time executive planning retreat that's happening, it really gives you the opportunity to maximize your income as a coach because you're talking about per person fee now instead of just the one-on-one.
Oh my gosh, yes. I love all of this so much.
Hey, it's Shannon here. I'm just popping in really quickly to ask a big favor. Would you pause the show and go review it for us? Please. Reviews really help us to be able to get more guests and more experts on the show to help you transform your retreats. So if you wouldn't mind pausing and leaving us a review, that would mean everything. And if you're not already subscribed, do that too.
So one of the things I think an obstacle that some people may be thinking of as they're listening to this, like they're thinking, this all sounds amazing. I love everything about this. I would love to do something like this, is they don't own horses themselves. And so I feel like we need to spend a little bit of time at least addressing that, because I think, Kristine, even if you and I were not in this field, but obviously we're going to be biased, but we both were going to own horses regardless, right? I mean, we're horse lovers. We enjoy riding them. Our kids enjoy riding them. So we were going to have horses regardless. And if someone would have came to me and said, hey, I've got this program, and laid it out for me and showed me as a barn, we'll call it a barn owner, right? I own a barn with horses, and said, here's this program I'm doing. Here's what it's required. I'm going to cover insurance or help you cover insurance. I'm going to do this. It's also going to be good for your horses. And here's why. I would have jumped at it. You know what I mean? I would have been like, yes, you can absolutely rent out my horses during this time with supervision, and you put your parameters in place and all that stuff. But,
Sure.
And yes, there's an additional cost to that, but still, the point being is that even if you don't own horses, if you've got any horses within your vicinity of either the place that you're using to do whatever you're doing, whatever kind of work you're doing, or very close to where you do your work, you can easily approach that barn owner or that horse owner and say, hey, here's a plan. Let's do this together. Don't you think?
Yes. And actually, I'll take it from a different perspective of as the coach without the horse, because as a barn owner, I have 5 horses and 2 mini donkeys. We have similar, what would that be, herds, that we're managing. I have a huge amount of expense managing these horses. And if I was a coach without a horse or a yoga teacher without a horse, I would absolutely not purchase a horse. The cost.
I'm so glad you said that.
Maintaining and having horses is just so astronomical that for me, this is an added benefit, that this is something I can make some additional money on by doing. But if I didn't already own a horse, I would absolutely get trained in how to do this and not buy a horse to do it. I would just find somebody. It's like, that friend with a boat or the friend with a lake house. You really want a friend with a boat, but you don't want to own the boat. It's exactly the same with horses. Just rent the horse. Any horse can do this work. Any happy and healthy horse who is being well cared for in a nice facility can do this kind of work. It takes really very little out of the horse. And that's another thing I love about it as a horse owner is I can do these kinds of sessions all day long, every day of the week. I don't care if my horse, in a lesson program, a horse can really only do 1 or 2 lessons a day maximum, depending on what they're doing, as far as like the physical demands that are put on them in that job. This has 0 physical demands. Half the time the horse is just standing there, or the best is if the horse chooses to lay down. If your horse is so into this moment and everybody in the room is in all of nature, right? We're not in a room, out in the arena, is really focused and present and being mindful. The horses sometimes will lay down and take a nap. So like you said, it's really good for the humans. It's good for the horses. And so it is not something that I would encourage anyone to actually go out and buy a horse. I would absolutely encourage you to find a local barn or a retreat center that has horses. If they have a trail riding operation, this is so much easier on their horses than doing trail riding every day. And if they've done a morning trail ride, they can do an afternoon of equine assisted anything, because it is just very, very easy on them. So there's no concern. Insurance and things like that, we're going to talk about on day 2 in this retreat, because there's a lot of logistics about setting up a business related to horses. There's going to be contracts, there's going to be insurance, training, the various things that you need to consider. So we're going to talk about how you really can maximize your impact with this kind of addition to your business. But again, don't buy a horse to do it. Don't think that that's a financial obstacle. You're actually way better positioned by not being the one who owns the horse and gets to just come in and partner with it for these particular activities.
I am so glad you said that, because I actually think it's a little bit giggle worthy when someone says, gosh, purchasing a horse is so expensive. And I'm like, that's the least expensive, the purchase price. Several of our horses, by the way, were free, and those are even more expensive horses because usually they have health issues that come with it. We just added a new horse to our herd, by the way.
Tell us about him.
He's so cute. He's so lovable. He's a flea-bitten gray horse, and unfortunately, he came with worms, and his hooves were really bad, and he's super malnourished right now. And so we actually drove him up to the vet the other day. The farrier came out. All those things that add up to thousands of dollars, people.
Yes.
And so he's on his way to healing, but I'm really excited because he's going to be, I think, fabulous for this type of work. And I'm glad that you said you don't actually have to mount any of the horses in any of them, including the equine yoga. As a matter of fact, I recommend, and to be honest with you, especially because most of you will have to work with someone else's horses, that you do the equine yoga not mounted. You do equine ground yoga, because it really does take a whole different kind of training. It's a whole different kind of thing to do equine yoga being mounted. And our horses are trained on it. We have 5 of them that are trained on it, but it's just, unless they're your horses, that's just something that's a little bit more difficult. But you can get just as much out of it by doing all of it from the ground. And all of this work can be done without putting any weight or pressure or physical exertion on the horse. Yes, there's some energetic exertion, but horses are really good about just blowing that shit out, literally, when they're getting overwhelmed. They'll yawn it out, they'll stretch it out, they'll take a nap, they'll do what they've got to do in order to get rid of that. But I love this, because even retired horses, like horses that just, they've got Cushing's disease, or they've become pasture pets, but horses still like to work, y'all. I know that sounds weird. Don't get me wrong, they can be lazy too, but they actually like being involved in something. And so this is a great opportunity for those, retired horses, or just horses that maybe have mild health issues, that not something that would cause them to be aggressive. There are definitely situations like that where you've got stressed out horses or aggressive horses. Those do not work well for these programs, but just horses who have minor issues, that just cannot bear weight, but still are great, personality wise. So I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, I would totally echo that. Don't go purchase a horse for this.
No, actually, what I would love to suggest is that people partner with a local rescue. Go find a rescue where you're giving, talk about, I can't remember what the standards, it's not sustainability, but there's a lot of people who want to have a give back component. If you partner with a rescue and you're providing them with some income to help with the cost of managing their horses, again, it's a happy, healthy horse is what you need. So it's horses that are not intakes, like yours is a recent intake, might take a little bit of time to settle into the new environment and getting healthy and everything. But rescues, sometimes have really long-term residents that cannot be adopted out, but they're fantastic, wise creatures. And it's their length of history on this planet. They're like the earliest animal. I think it's them and platypuses are the earliest seen mammals. And we're talking 58 million years that they've been around. So in their DNA, they've been through all kinds of things. They were our war companions. They've been worker bees for us, right? On the farms when agricultural stuff started using horses. And they've been great partners for people for hundreds and thousands of years. So I think they have so much wisdom built in, and humans taking the opportunity to be out in nature, experiencing what it is to have an energetic exchange with the horse. Like you said, it's so good for the horse to be seen and valued and recognized for what it really brings to the table. And it's so good for the human because there's just so much built-in wisdom there. So I think partnering with rescues would be a really lovely way for people to really give back to their community. And then again, you've got this triple win. It's a win for the rescue. It's a win for the coach who's providing something really unique and different. And it's a win for the horses that are not being used and abused in the way that so many are in our industry.
Gosh, I love that idea so much. The rescues could totally use both the income as well as the work for the horses. These horses, they need it. And so I love that so much.
Hey guys, I'm popping in to ask a quick question. Are you ready to elevate your marketing game and fill those retreat slots faster than ever? Of course you are. That's why you're here. And we've got the toolkit for you. Our top 5 marketing tools for retreat leaders guide. This isn't just a guide. It's your marketing guru wrapped up in one easy-to-follow package. Dive into the essentials of social media marketing, where we show you how to leverage those platforms to create a community buzzing with excitement for your retreats. Also, unleash the power of content marketing with strategies that educate and engage your potential guests. Plus, we'll dive into email marketing, SEO, and partnership opportunities that open new doors and bring in streams of attendees. So why wait to make your retreats the talk of the town? Download your free guide today by visiting retreatmarketingtools.com and start transforming your retreat dreams into reality.
So what's the date and how do they find it and all that good stuff?
Yeah. So we've got December 3rd and 4th is when this retreat is happening. On the 3rd, the first day, we're going to go through these 3 different modalities. So we'll have equine therapy / coaching, demos and experiences. Then we'll do equine yoga. We'll do equine team building and leadership development work. That'll all happen on the first day. And then on December 4th, the second day, we'll really get into the business behind it. So if you do want to add this into your business, how are you going to approach a barn? What kind of things do you need to make sure you already have covered? How do you kind of either find a professional who knows how to do this to partner with, or know what kind of horses you can partner with, have that understanding of what you're looking for in the place that you're going. So we're going to really try to really empower you to launch this as a program or service that you offer after doing this, at least in partnering with someone who has some ability to do it. If not, take it on yourself if you do happen to have horses. Because I have had a few conversations with some coaches who have horses and are interested in partnering with them in this way beyond the typical riding that they tend to do with them. So finding out about it, I think either of our websites, horseandbow.com, and which one do you have it on? You've got it on
retreatranch.com. Yep, the retreatranch.com. It'll also be in the show notes. So the direct link will be in the show notes. But I love that you said that whether they want to make it where they do it themselves, or I know at my ranch, obviously, we have retreat hosts that come through here and they add equine programs on, and that allows them, by the way, to charge more for their retreat, right? So it's an income, it's a win-win. We've already talked about that. So people can do that here at the ranch. But I know you've had retreats where they've come and they've done an experience at your place too.
Yeah, I love partnering with coaches because coaches can coach on, so they may have a specialty in some area that I don't, how to improve a leader through their own modality, the tests, the assessments, or the various things that they have, or the models that they like to use. And so I love it when people come in and say, hey, I want to teach about like hospitality, or I want to teach about, employee training, or just all these different things that you can do to improve your business and your team. And can we do it with the horses? Like I teach a little bit, you do something cool with the horses that reinforces it. Maybe it's conflict resolution they have to work on. We can tailor our activities around that. So I absolutely love partnering with coaches, yoga practitioners. I've had a couple of yoga retreats come out where they were retreating somewhere else and they wanted a fun excursion that was something a little bit different, but wanted to keep that like mindfulness, juice going. We actually had one that the theme was breathe. And so we did breath work in the presence of the horses, sitting in the arena with the horses, and we saw how it impacted them. So yeah, we love partnering with people like this. And I think anybody in the equine assisted space would be very happy to have somebody else, partner again to share the load, the work of bringing customers in, share the load of delivery on that day, and then have that added bonus of the horses involved.
Yes. So we've established that it's a win-win-win all the way around for everybody. If you are interested in joining me and Kristine and Paula, check the show notes or theretreatranch.com or horseandbow.com. Kristine, I'm so excited to do this retreat with you. And thank you so much for being an awesome guest on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. Learn more at www.theretreatranch.com. See you next time.